Lord, Commissioner.
All right, Bannock County Commissioners are in session for Thursday, January 22nd, 2026. We have an amended agenda, so I'd go ahead and make a motion that we approve the amended agenda. Have a motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. First item on our agenda is Christie.
Christy Clauser, Comptroller. I have our quarterly reporting of budget to actual revenue and expenditures for quarter ending December 31 of 25. Revenues, there's not a lot to report, just simply because it's the first quarter and revenues are really slow coming in. We haven't received any of our quarterly funds. We've received some property taxes and personal property replacement, but and some fees and revenues, but that's about it. When you look at the report, the percentage is a little bit distorted just due to the journal entry for full amount of property taxes, and that's because of the journal entry I do to set up the receivable for the property taxes. So when you look at that, keep that in mind. Expenditures, there's a little more interest there. We should have 25% spent as of this quarter. Anybody that was over 25%, I made note on your summary document. So the clerk is at 35%, but that is because we had the November election and also the mayor runoff for the city of Pocatello. So that threw us off just a little bit, but then we'll steady out for the rest of the year because she's going to have a primary, but then everything else should kind of level out for elections, and the other departments are pretty consistent in their spend. The treasurer's department is at 40%, but again, that is because they send out their tax bills in November. They have two large line items in their budget. One is the tax bills, contract services, and the other is the litigation guarantees. So when one of those line items spend high, it distorts that percentage. The commission budget is at 31%. That's due to early travel for Commissioner District 2. County operations is at 36%. That's because we paid the full juvenile detention billing of $990,000, I believe it was. So that's just distorting that total percentage, but it will level out as well. Ag extension is at 57%. Again, that is because they purchased their vehicle, which is one large line item in comparison to their total budget. So that's distorting that percentage. IT is at 73%. They pay a lot of their software support early in the fiscal year, and so that again is distorting their percentage. The rest of their expenses are going to be basically operating, utilities, things like that. Planning and zoning is at 29%. They had a one-time software large expense. For some reason, their operating supplies are at 69%, and their travel is a little concerning because it's at 87% already, and it's only as of 12/31. So hopefully they just did their travel early, and that's going to level itself out. I have not heard that they're going to reallocate funds to cover any additional travel, so that might be something to watch. Road and Bridge is at 35%. Their department's a little bit different. They do POs within Tyler, so their encumbrances are showing as money spent, even though it physically hasn't been spent yet. Ambulance is at 30%. That's also due to we pay ahead 1 month, so we've actually paid 4 months as of December on the contract with the city of Pocatello, so that's going to throw that off just a little bit on the percent. Indigent for the public defenders is at 100%. That's because the only thing we budget is for their rent, and that's already been paid in full for the year. Liability insurance shows 49% because again in November we pay half of the annual year premium, so that actually is on track. 911 and emergency communications, they're at 51%. They had a capital purchase, which again is distorting their remaining budget just because it was such a large purchase. Within our grants, we had a couple of departments that were missing the budgets. Those have been fixed. Luann put those in, but she fixed those in January, so those don't have a budget as of December. There's a couple departments that look like they're totally spent. The 258, which is the sheriff mini grants, and the ambulance grant. We enter those budgets as we get awards because they're recurring grants or one-time grants. We're not sure which, so those are appropriate. We have a couple departments that are over budget that Luann is looking into, the 264 and then the drug court grant. And she's looking into if we needed a budget reserves, and she missed doing that. So nothing of concern. If there's concern, I'll report it next quarter or sooner if necessary.
No, I appreciate your paper here.
And I will try to get that, oh good, Christy did get it downloaded to the packet, so
Yeah.
I'll have to tell her thank you since I got it to her a little late.
Thank you very much.
Do we ever have any grants that are just an in and out, a one time?
Lots. A lot of our, like our, you mean like one time we never have again, like ARPA?
Yeah, and you get the grant and you turn around and pay the check right straight out of that.
Hit and miss, yes.
Okay, because I was trying to think there are times that, so we don't, anyway, this is a question more as an accounting question that sometimes I have found, especially in like insurance payments, that I didn't recognize the revenue until actually we received it and then we entered it in and as revenue and expensed it out, so it matches up.
Most of our grants are reimbursement.
Okay.
And so we'll show the expense first and then we
Okay.
get reimbursed on the revenue.
Yeah.
The only grant that we really had prepaid was ARPA.
Okay.
But most of our grants are reimbursement grants where we pay them
Okay.
out and then we recognize the
Because,
revenue.
boy, sometimes trying to match up with quarter to quarter or whatever because of timing or whatever. That's why sometimes I've seen that you just don't record the revenue till actually you cut the check right out almost the same time, so it matches up better.
Yeah.
But I don't know whether our grants do that. Like you say, if they're reimbursement, you can't do
Well,
that.
it depends on how fast they reimburse
Yeah.
us. So if you're looking at a federal grant, then most likely we're not going to be
Yeah.
reimbursing the same quarter. But that's where we set the budget based on the award, and
Right.
so it really doesn't matter because when the revenue comes in, it will offset
Yeah.
with what we spend.
At least it matches up better if
Yeah.
you can do it in the same quarter as you receive it with the expenses. But if they're dragging on or we pay them in advance, then it's almost impossible they would be.
Yeah,
right
you'd
on
have to
target.
look at the cash report to know which
Yeah.
ones aren't matching up. You're not going to see it on the revenue
Probably
expenses
not.
unless you're looking at them side by side.
I know with like insurance payments with Medicare and all that other stuff, that was always so ugly to try to, because you never knew exactly. You'd submit it for payment, but you never knew exactly how much you was going to get. And so.
Well, and then you got a 60, 45.
Yeah, so then you either have to discount, write something off, and it was just a pain. But we don't have much of that at all.
No, we don't do that.
Okay.
The only one we would have that with would be ambulance, but as soon as they get the EOB, they write off the balance for contractual adjustment. And then D6 bills what they receive, so they normally do not have write-offs.
What about the wellness center area? Do we ever have any matching issues up there with expenses going out and then we get the revenue or
Well, not really because they don't really have, I mean, they have a receivable for people that pay us for services,
Okay,
which they should be collecting ahead of time, and they don't always do that.
okay, so,
But we do report a receivable for anything that has not been paid.
okay. So it goes in as soon as we know there's a contract or whatever as a receivable then,
Yes,
most of the time.
essentially, yes.
Okay. I'm just curious about how we're matching this up, just if we're reading financials, there's so many different, every one of them's different. So, okay, thank you.
Motion?
I will make that motion that we go ahead and accept that budget report.
We have a motion, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All right, next on the agenda, we have the claims agenda. Just one comment on the commissioner's report. We paid the veterans.
Yes.
The memorial.
Yes.
And that's
The full
and
25,000.
that's it, right?
Yes.
So,
Yeah, we paid them their
I'm
bonus.
excited to see how
I
that works out.
like it better that way,
I like
and they
it.
can have their own responsibility.
So,
Yep.
That's what I saw.
do have one invoice for the board. Shanda yesterday got me an invoice for Headwaters that I didn't realize was still outstanding through some miscommunication. So luckily, we unsubmitted the ARPA report, but the good news is instead of turning over $263,000 back to the feds, we're only going to turn back $146,747. So.
I'll make a motion, we go ahead and approve that invoice and approve the commission report.
motion, all in favor say aye. Aye.